Okay, so say you're in the traffic pattern and you're getting ready to land and you reduce power and start descending. You're pitching maybe for 90 knots in downwind. So you have less power now and you're going at a slower airspeed. There's less airflow over the horizontal stabilizer. So it's providing less downforce and the nose is going to want to drop a little bit. So to relieve the back pressure you're having to hold to keep pitching at 90 knots, you put in a little bit of nose up trim. Then you continue on to base. Let's say you're pitching for 80 knots on base, so even a little bit less airflow over the horizontal stabilizer, and so you add a little bit more nose up trim to pitch for 80 knots. On final, let's say you're pitching for 70 knots, still less airflow, nose is going to want to drop a little bit more, so you add a little bit more nose up trim to help you keep pitching for 70 knots. Now maybe someone taxis onto the runway when you're on short final, or something else happens and you need to do a go around. So you add full power and you start doing your go around, but now with full power added, there's a lot more airflow from the prop over the horizontal stabilizer, and it becomes suddenly a lot more effective. And you're going to get a pretty aggressive pitch up because you still have all of this nose up trim added in. So if you've ever done a go around with a lot of nose up trim in, you'll know what I'm talking about here. You have to push pretty hard forward on the elevator to keep the airplane from pitching way, way up when you do this. So if you are not paying attention and you have all this nose up trim in and you do a go around and you let it get away from you, you can enter something called an elevator trim stall, when it's a kind of power on stall caused by excessive nose up elevator trim. Typically on a go around, could also happen if you took off with a bunch of nose up trim in without properly setting the trim before takeoff. Could also happen if you're practicing slow flight and you recover from slow flight with a lot of nose up trim in. This can be pretty dangerous. If it's happening on a go around, obviously you're pretty close to the ground and you don't have a whole lot of room to recover. So this is something we need to be aware of. Typically on a go around, you need to start reducing your nose up trim right away. Also with taking out your flaps incrementally and adding full power, announcing you're going around. Part of that procedure needs to be reducing that nose up trim.